Today. This session is about the Hyperledger Mentorship program and the great experience that I've had being a mentor for the Hyperledger Mentorship program and working with Pratham on his mentorship program that he did this past year in 2024. And one of the things I'll just like to say is it's really a great way to grow the community and bring, fresh new talent into the ecosystem by working with, individuals like Pratham. And he really delivered a lot of great value for the community. And I'll just say, personally, Pratham is, your mentor of the time. You did an exceptional job of, creating really good content for the community. And it's really been a pleasure working with you. And I will say, I also want to say to Min, who manages the mentorship program for Hyperledger, she has really done a great job of crafting a program that I think really resonates with the entire Hyperledger community and really brings a lot of value and new people into the community. So I want to also thank Min for, managing and setting up the whole Hyperledger mentorship program. So at this point, I would like to, turn this over to Pratham and let him run through and talk about, his experience with being a mentee in the mentorship program for 2024. And then Pratham, I think it'd be great since we have a new mentorship program that's coming up in 2025 for you to go ahead and, kind of dive into that. I know we shared the link in the chat and I maybe can reshare it if anyone still needs it. And then as we move along here too, anyone who's joined the presentation, feel free to post in the chat or raise your hand on the Zoom here, and we'll go ahead and take your questions as we move through. And the way I look at it, Pratham, is if there's something that's relevant to what you're presenting on as we move along, let's go ahead and answer that immediately. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and have a great Q&A session at the end as well. So at this point, Pratham, I'm going to turn it over to you. And thanks for all your wonderful work on the mentorship program this past year.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and thank you for being such a great mentor. And without any further ado, let's dive straight in. So, this journey started in February last year when I was like looking at a lot of mentorship and internship opportunities, and it was then when I came across Hyperledger and the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. So when I started initially, it was known as Hyperledger, and later the rebranding from Hyperledger to LFDT took place. And as I joined, my first and foremost application was to this particular project, which was community engagement and creating contributing resources for the community. The the most fascinating part which piqued my attention towards this project was that it was an amalgamation of tech and video production. So video production facilitated the creative aspect of my mind to function well, and tech was something which I was always interested in. So pursuing the software engineering degree, I had this knack for tech, and I was doing a couple of courses in blockchain here and there in the university and a part of my self study. So this was a great way to put the theory which I was learning into action. And video production was something I had previous experience in. And Hyperledger and the LFDT mentorship program seemed like a great way to amplify that particular experience of mine. So that was the initial motivation and driving force to join the program. And I applied, and fortunately, I got selected. And I feel very grateful for the fact that I got selected for the mentorship program. Now, let me share my day-to-day tasks, which were the things which I had the opportunity to do as a mentee in the presence of John. So, John uh, enabled me to gain access to a lot of other people also in the community, like Rai, like Peter, and Swetan, Enrique, and everyone else. So I was in touch with not just John, but all of these people in the community. And we created content for the Hyperledger participation page for different projects. Like for Firefly, we did a explainer session with Enrique. For the Fabric Operations console, we had an explainer detailed session with Swetan, and we did a video on DCO. We did a video on how to convince your management to make your project open source, and to, how does Hyperledger Fabric improve the supply chain? So videos on all these particular topics is what we contributed to the community, and we took feedback from people like Peter and other people. Like, these were some content ideas which the which were brought by the community members in the task forces meetings and SIG meetings, and people from the community conveyed it to John. John transparently told me that these are the videos which need to be created, and I took one video a week and started creating all of these videos plus more. So this was the initial KRA for the weeks, and we modified it as per our availability and the people who were like also involved. Like, we were involved with creating videos with them. For example, explainer sessions. So availability of both people were necessary. So we tweaked the timelines according to that. So this was something that we did, and these were some of the videos. Let me share this. Yeah. So, like, how to contribute to Hyperledger projects, we created entire guides on this. So any person who is new to the community, so they might get overwhelmed looking at such an enormous umbrella of the open source projects. So in order that they don't get overwhelmed, we need to create these contribution guides so that a person has a quick start to enable them, so that they don't wander around looking for resources. They need to get everything structured. So, like, what is LFDT Labs? So we created a detailed session on LFDT Labs, which was uh, there to tell you like what LFDT Labs is, and then like what do they have into a place for you, and what are the particular purpose that LFDT lab suffices, and the projects which are incubated by the labs, where are they today, what are the facilities it gives, what are the opportunities you get in, like, not just funding but recognition, the scope of the project and stuff, and how you can participate, more importantly, and everything. Similarly, developer certificate of origin, and like, yeah. So this, we explained it with an example of Red Hat, that how open source projects, how projects, like making your project open source, can help you gain credibility and, take your business to the next level, take the project to the next level, and has a higher purpose. Similarly, how to navigate in the project resources, and um, everything you need to know about the mentorship program. How does Hyperledger Fabric like elevate the supply chain? So all videos and all the resources. I also wrote the blog on explainer videos. For example, I had this session with Enrique on Firefly. So I wrote a video which explained the community about Firefly. For example, anyone does not have the bandwidth to watch an entire video for an hour, so they can, just read the blog for 5 minutes, and, they can get the takeaways of the blog from the blog, and they don't need to watch the entire video for that. Also, I created a lot of shorts, so experimented with a lot of things, and, tried to do everything possible so that the community engagement can be uh, elevated to a certain extent, and we can increase the user signups when it comes to all things blockchain, and we can, get targeted people to join the community, because the entire goal of Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust is to, up the game when it comes to cross-level blockchain resources, and, projects, and industry level standards. So that is the initial like uh, day-to-day tasks which I had. And other than that, if we discuss about the mentorship program, so the experience has been nothing short of surreal. Let me explain you how. So yeah, we created a lot of instructional content, video resources, and like took feedback from the community continuously. We were in sync with everybody so that we could know what are the pain points in the community, what are the missing aspects that need to be done, and then we created videos on that. Some tutorials we created, art like videos on how to submit issues, how to like ensure that your PR gets merged, how the review process in the community occurs, what are SIGs, how can you join in, how can you like feel free to lurk in and just create connections in the community and just get involved without feeling any hesitation whatsoever. And the best practices, we created videos on that, and how to set your integrated development environments in order to suit the Hyperledger projects, how to set up the projects locally, and how to do signed commits. Yeah. So the mentorship videos aligned with the community and met the Hyperledger standards, hopefully. And that is what I heard from John. And the most elated aspect used to be when John used to tell that I like showed your video to everybody in the and in the task forces meeting, everybody was happy about the work you do. That was a big thumbs up from my side, and the most validating aspect was that particular thing. And I used to use open source software only to edit the particular videos. DaVinci Resolve is the open source software which I used to edit the particular videos, and that used to be the thing. And when it comes to like Hyperledger mentorship program, cool. So now it is the LF Decentralized Trust Mentorship Program, and the program provides opportunities for developers, researchers, and other contributors. So the most fascinating part of it is that there is no um, guideline as to your age restriction or whether you're working, whether you're not working, whether you're a student. Like anybody can feel free to participate in. You all you need to do is you need to contribute, uh, like you'll be given weekly targets, and to achieve those targets you need to contribute roughly 15 to 20 hours a week, and that can be done solely at your convenience. And you can feel free to do it whenever you feel like. This is a defined scope and the defined structure of a program, and like you can like do it alongside work. I used to do it alongside work. I used to do it alongside a full-time college, university, and I gained first-hand experience in blockchain, and I saw firsthand and was a part of the project when I realized how people communicate when they work remotely, and how real-world open source projects which have uh, so many concurrent users they function, and how work is done in such big open source organizations, how over communicating is key to uh, maintaining the trust when working remotely with people, and like how open source development infrastructure is used, tooling, the best practices, and how the smallest of the changes which we might think is trivial, but they can cause such a big um, impact when it comes to scale. Because if you're developing a guide that saves people even 5 minutes, and there are like several thousands of people, so you cumulatively saved so many hours. That is the impact which you produce, and you made the experience better for so many people when it comes to uh, the project which you worked on. So you learn open source projects, you get to work with so many people, you get to uh, work with the best possible mentors out there. For example, John and I used to connect every single week. We used to connect at 9 a.m. Uh, in the United States, I guess PST. Yeah, 9 a.m. was the time when we used to connect, and it was 9:30 p.m. here in India, where I am located. So every Wednesday we used to connect and we used to discuss the review for the past week, and I used to show the video which I have created. He used to provide his feedback on it, and then we discussed the particular task for next week, and then we used to get cracking on that. Okay, now let's do the task for the next week. So we strategized and we used to develop and ideate on what has to be done next week. So working with John in so much sync has given me the ability to, work for the community and create stellar explainer videos. And I got so many good suggestions to better my work, to create even better explainer videos, to create more relevant stuff which the community actually needs rather than, going haywire. So all the channelization of the stuff has been John's role there, and his advice has, proved to be very uh, like significant in achieving what we have been able to achieve. And other than John, Peter has also been a very instrumental personality because all these suggestions have been curated by Peter as well, and Rai and David, people and everyone who supported, like Enrique and even Swetan, and even if I'm missing some name, Min has played a very instrumental role in handling this particular program. So Min does such a great job in keeping the program so much streamlined for not just me, but I also used to chat with other mentees on Discord, and they were also very happy with how Min is, handling this program. So one other advantage is you get the access to this great community. By the way, you can also get access to the community that is independent of whether you're a part of this program or not. That does not matter. But I urge you to at least join the particular Discord community. So feel free to lurk in and uh, take a look at all the groups and subgroups and channels we have in Discord, and just say hi to everyone in the community and uh, ask if they can give you a walkthrough about what this project has to offer. I'm sure that maintainers will be more than happy to offer you, because see, it is a matter of fact that a limited people will be accepted into the project, but at least everyone can be a part of this open source community, because there's no invitation. Everyone is open to join the community, and I urge you to do that because the community is immensely rewarding, and rewarding in the sense you get so much from the community, you get so much to learn that it is definitely worth it, and it's a big thumbs up to join, at least from my end. So you'll get the first-hand experience, and let me walk you through the dates of the Hyperledger or the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust Mentorship Program. So dates are more or less similar to the timelines which we had last year. So Feb 5 to Feb 15 is the community members submitting their mentorship proposals, and then the proposals will be reviewed by the TAC, which is the Technical Advisory Council. And this is where you need to uh, be very alert and very uh, you need to get cracking on, because 1st April to May 10 is the Mentee application period where you need to submit your best proposals to the desired projects, and 12th May to 23rd May is when the Mentee application will be reviewed, and once your application is selected, then you'll be asked to sit for an interview with the particular project mentor. And 26th to 30th May is when the selected mentees will get their notifications and they'll be asked to join the onboarding program. So, onboarding program is something where John and Min and other maintainers and other mentors of the projects will introduce you to the particular projects and you get to work with them, know them better, and understand what you will work on. So, after that, 16th June to 28th November. So, this is the 6 month period where you are expected to commit. Oh, okay, so it's 15 hours a week on a consistent basis. John was a very flexible mentor because I remember times when I had examinations, and John told me that, okay, it's not an issue if you could not produce one video for this week because um, you have your examination. So it makes more sense to focus on the examinations for this point in time. I delivered like two videos maybe the next week so that it could, you know, uh, like it could manage for the loss which I have done in the previous week by not producing a video, focusing on my examinations. And there used to be evaluations, so midterm evaluations, and used to be we could manage everything what we are doing by setting weekly targets, and we used to fill a particular sheet that this week we produced this and this week we produced this, so that we are in sync with uh, the goals which we have committed to. Yeah, the most like the other parts of the mentorship, the other advantages far outweigh this one, but um the stipend or the mentorship stipend we receive is surely amazing because it enabled me to do so much which I could have otherwise not been able to do. So 3,000 US dollars is the stipend which I received for the entire program, and this 3,000 USD is great amount for someone who comes from India or who comes from a developing country, because this was like a seed round to my uh, startup which I started. So how the Hyperledger mentorship program helped me? It helped me so much that I motivated to start a full-fledged and thriving business in this particular domain. So this was developer relations and community management and creating video resources, blogs and stuff. And while doing, I found so much passion in this particular work that I decided that I can do this for my entire life, the rest, the remaining part of my life. And that is when I started this company called Kryptonic Labs. So we are a very nascent staged company, and we started looking at the work I was doing, and I was getting paid for it. I'm sure that uh, I found the particular product market fit that, okay, this is a thing which open source projects needs, and other companies also might need videos for them. They might need onboarding programs for them. They might need blogs curated for them. And we solved this particular problem by developing all these resources for uh, the, those startups and those clients of ours. That is when Kryptonic Labs was born. So this program gave me so much insight and so much uh, like fuel to my dreams that I was able to start a startup. And the initial costs of running the startup, hiring my first set of employees, or I call them family. So hiring those first set of interns, which were my college juniors, and um, developing the website, accounting for hosting and everything, registering the firm, everything was possible because of this 3,000 US dollars, which was my stipend. So I used it to, buy a laptop for myself and, do all this particular stuff. So this was the level of impact it played on my life. And I am so grateful that if I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity, maybe everything which I have been able to accomplish by starting this business wouldn't have been possible, because it was a chain of events. Like one thing led to another, and so on and so forth. And I got a lot of credibility just because my videos were featured on the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust channel. So once your video is on such an acclaimed platform, the clients automatically start taking you seriously. That this guy has some credibility, then only like such a big organization like LFDT has put their video on the particular official channel. So that was a big boost in my content journey, and now we work with stellar authorization startups valued north of $40 million, and we work with other like projects and authorization startups and cloud and Kubernetes observability tool startups. So uh, all this has been possible. The initial particular uh, motivation for all this has been the LFDT mentorship program, which facilitated this for me. So that is another thing. And other
Yeah,
than
that's great, Pratham. And I think one of the things that I really want to highlight here is I think anyone here who's on this particular video call or is watching it on YouTube really should understand that the level of seriousness that you took. The mentorship program was great. You really dove in and did a lot of great work for the program, and I think that really is, when you're talking about what you got out of the program, I think a lot of that is what you put into the program. Does that make sense? So the more that really the mentee takes, full advantage of jumping in and doing the work, I think that's really going to pay off. And I welcome anyone who's on the call now to also ask about the new 2025 program. And because I think that, getting more people to come into the program in the coming year and maybe new community members. And, Pratham, like you talk about, you were a new community member and you were looking for an opportunity to get engaged where you could say, I'm going to get some real world experience that's also going to be able to be parlayed into, furthering your career, is exactly what I think the mentorship program is all about. And also, once you're engaged with the Hyperledger community, then you can be a long-term contributor and be a long-term member of the community for sure. So what we ought to do, Pratham, is maybe open it up here and see if any of the other attendees have any specific questions for you or have any specific questions about the upcoming mentorship program that maybe they would like to jump in and ask about. Because I think it's a great interactive session that we can, kind of convey. If you're wanting to get involved in the new mentorship program in 2025, this is why you do it. And this is the benefit that you've gleaned from being involved in the program last year. So let's just see if anybody has any questions. You can either post them in here. We got Jeff. That's perfect. And we got another one here. So Jeff's asking here, Pratham, what has been the category of projects mentees work on? For example, do they focus on programming in projects, be it Fabric, etc., documentation of open source, participate in actual business projects? So I'll kind of talk a little bit about that, Pratham, and then I'll let you also weigh in based on your experience with working with, different members of the community. So Jeff, kind of answer your question here is a lot of the projects within the mentorship are definitely going to be around programming and code development and working on the various projects. So, you talk about Hyperledger Fabric. Yesterday, I just did another session with Hyperledger Fabric Operations Console, which is in the labs, and kind of the great things that they're doing with that. And it's really just a function of whether or not you want to do the categorization that's on the mentorship. And I don't know if it shows up on this particular one, but let's see if I can maybe pull up a screen share of ones to kind of show you here. Let's see if I can, and it might take me a minute. So maybe Pratham, you want to talk about some of the other types of things that people could glean from being involved in the mentorship, as far as whether they're working on, you worked on content development, but there's also programming sessions as well.
Sure. So, as we see that LFDT is such a big umbrella of open source projects that there are enormous amount of things for everyone to contribute to. It's like you can choose on whatever you best fit in and whatever you want to work in. So, I had applied for other projects, like I had applied for caliper documentation. So that was a mixture of amalgamation of Markdown and uh, the tech stack which they were involved in. So that was one of the projects. There is UX changes which you can do. You can make the interface even better. You can focus on front end development. There are back end core aspects. There are cloud projects you can work on, and everything in the Hyperledger umbrella is uh, wherever development is needed, from the even maintaining the GitHub pages of the repositories and stuff. So everything you can feel free to contribute to. There is a detailed list of projects, and they are separated by the particular category. Uh, at least that is what I had the last time. So as soon as I find the link and as soon as we'll share it, you can have a look at it, or we'll make sure that it is there in the description of the YouTube session or stuff, so that you can have a look at. There's definitely a lot of them, and you know, uh,
Yeah,
choose
and the
whatever
other
you
thing
feel
I'll say
like.
too, yeah, Pratham, that's great. And in the application for the mentorship, there's also where it calls out the type of function that they're looking to fill. So whether that's code development, whether that's front end development, whether that's content development, video production, that will all be called out within the mentorship itself. And I'm just taking a quick look here to see if, like, here's one that says coding. Maybe I'll just share my screen for a second here, Pratham, and then
Sure.
you can take back over. So here's this looking at the 2025 program. You can see that this one is around coding, designing and implementing trust tasks. This would be a good example. This one is another one where it's a research style mentorship, and there's a lot of technical architecture research that would need to be done here. So those are just a couple, and I say there's going to be many more coming up because it's just early in the process now. I'd say as we get toward the end of February and the deadline there, we're going to have a lot more projects to share for sure. Okay, so it looks like another one is Uki. Hopefully I'm getting that pronunciation right. Is looking at share the details of the mentorship program for 2025. That's via the link. Let me go ahead and show you any other eligibility requirements. And so, here are the eligibility requirements. And I will say this, Hyperledger is an international community. So, being able to work, and what Pratham talked about was, we can work together even though I'm in the US and he's in India, and we just find a time slot that works for both of us. And, we can work together and it really works out well. So, here's some of the eligibilities, basically just 18 or over, not a prior active participant in another Linux Foundation mentorship program, all the different things here. And let's just take a look at some of the benefits to the mentees. And I know, Pratham, you've gone through and done a great job of talking about the benefits that you've gleaned from it. But here's some other quotes from people, like Jason. He worked on theoretical blockchain and cryptography, and then it gave him a good balance between development and research, which I think is spot on. Here's another one, that the kernel development is very helpful, kind, and willing to help new developers. And I think that's really one of the cornerstones of Hyperledger is, welcoming new people to the community. And this is a great way to get involved in the community as a new member. Here's another one that looks like Attila came up with here. Getting involved in open source development. And, we all know that open source is really the future for all code development, and, being engaged in open source code development is going to be a great way that you're going to glean from the mentorship. And then, get involved in the community and build your network. Pratham, you've talked a lot about that for sure. And then you take pride in what you're producing here. And I think that was clear to me the whole time that we were working together, Pratham, was that you took pride in your work, and it showed in the creativity and the end product that was produced for sure.
Thank you. So yeah, as
So
they say, open source, open doors.
exactly. I love that quote, and I agree with that quote completely. Let's see if there's anything else that we should look at here. So how to apply. This is probably the biggest one. So what I would do is I'm going to actually share this link in the chat as well, because I think that, anybody who's on call now or who's watching this on the Hyperledger YouTube channel, this should be definitely where you want to go. So you want to, review your eligibility, which we looked at. Next thing you want to do is you want to create your profile. So you have your mentee profile in the Linux Foundation, and everyone can get an LFID. It's free, and that's what you need to do is jump in here and start creating a mentee profile. Okay, and then the next thing we want to look at too is then you want to go through and submit your application. And here's a great run through on how to go through the application. Once you have your profile, then you can apply for up to 3 mentorship programs in one term. And that's what Pratham talked about. It's he applied for more than one, which I suggest everyone to look at and see if there's multiple mentorship programs that you think would be great to work with. And then once it's submitted, then what will happen is the mentor will reach out to those candidates that look like the best fit for what is going to be the mentorship program coming up. And then there'll be an interview process, and then there'll be a final selection process, and then Pratham, just like you and I talked about, we'll go right to work, right? Don't you feel like once we got to the finish line and we said, okay, we're going to work together on this mentorship, then let's go straight into getting work done and doing production.
Yeah, so
Okay.
one thing which I did was that firstly I zeroed down on the things on the projects which I'm interested in, and there were like 7, 8 of them, and I could apply in maximum 3. So in order to maximize my probability, I applied in the 3 from those 7 which had the least number of applicants, so that I could maximize my probability of getting selected. And yeah, I reached the final stage of interview for 2 of them, and then yeah, finally got accepted by you, and we get started with the developing the plan for the project and then producing content.
Perfect. I think that pretty much covers what is in here. Let's see if there's any of the schedule and timelines. Let's look at that for a second here too. So this is spring term, March 31st, or March 1st through May 31st. And then these looks like some other ones. This is mainly for the Linux Foundation one. Let me back out here. So I think that's covering a lot of it. What other things do you think that we should discuss here, Pratham, that I think would be helpful to the community and those people in attendance?
I think like the deliverables which are expected from the mentees in sort of the timelines. Like they need to be consistent throughout the project, and uh, it is flexible, but they need to make sure that at least the work which is given takes like 15 hours a week. So they need to be committed to devote that much amount of time. Like it may be 2 hours a day, or it may be 2 days at a stretch working. So that particular bandwidth, they should be able to deliver content.
Hmm. And then I say, that's kind of what's expected of you. And, I think that one of the things I want to highlight here is these weekly check-ins to review project blockers and upcoming tasks. And I think, Pratham, one of the things that made your mentorship successful was, the weekly cadence that we had and really,
Yeah,
checking in, going through and having good back and forth communication. And I also think is, don't be afraid to ask questions and clarify things. And then the other thing that you did, which was great, is, inform your mentor of things that are going on in your life, like, important exams, so we can, coordinate and work around that schedule. So, you're still taking care of your critical path business, yet we're still getting through the process.
sure.
And I think the other thing is too, I want to highlight to this group is just evaluations. So as we go through and, you know, do the mentorship, we're going to have, in addition to check-ins and virtual meetings, we're going to also do evaluations as we go through. So, I think that's an important thing to know that, there's always these milestones that need to be met and how we're going to check in and say, okay, we're doing well on the mentorship and everything's, meeting our standard.
And also, can we
Okay.
have a look at the not selected question mark section? Because
Correct.
one thing that comes to my mind is that um, the community tries its best, and I'm sure that evaluators try their best to make the process as fair as possible to every uh, mentee. But I think like it may be a function of luck that uh, a particular mentee got selected and the other one didn't, because uh, like talent is so much available, and obviously for one project we can have one or two mentees, that the bandwidth of the project allows for that many particular amount of people. So I want that people shouldn't get discouraged if they are not selected.
Hmm.
Joining the community and working for the community, contributing resources. Like I had a talk with a particular friend of mine who unfortunately couldn't make it to the program. But he was so determined to be a part of the community and work for the particular foundation that he still worked and produced some resources. And like other mentees, he was also given a letter of recommendation by the mentor, that although he was not a part of the project, like he was not a part of the mentorship program, but he contributed these significant things to the community, and he also had a great stature in the community, and uh, like got almost all the benefits that anybody would get from that.
Yeah,
So you
I think
can
that's a
contribute
great point.
irrespective.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I completely agree with that, Pratham. I think that there's, more interested parties that want to be mentees than there are available slots.
yeah,
But I say, even if you're not selected, please join the community and be a part of it. And then what I'd also say too, Pratham, is, if a person just says, okay, well, wasn't able to be selected, but I'm going to participate in the community, that may help them for, the following year to get selected for the program. Does that make sense? So it's
yeah,
one of those things where, getting involved can help you out in all aspects of working with Hyperledger for sure.
sure.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Anything else here we want to look at covering?
Um,
Mm,
I think it's self-explanatory.
yeah, I would just welcome everybody to look at the standard code of conduct for Hyperledger. And I think that covers it. Let's see if we have any
Yeah, we
other questions.
have a question from Jeff. Is there a limit on the number of mentees per project? Uh, like there is, because per project we have some particular task which we need to be accomplished. For example, that in this particular project which I was a part of, there were certain amount of videos which were to be created, and these number of videos could be comfortably created by just one person when it comes to consistently working for 6 months producing one video per week. So I could have created like 6 months and four videos in a month. It's like 24, 25 videos. And that is something that one person can comfortably accomplish. There are some projects which involve work that can be done by two people or three people. So there is a number of uh, mentees which can be part of the particular project when it comes to the program, as in they will be a part of the mentorship program and they will receive the stipend for it. But if you want to contribute some features of, or if you just want to be a part of the project and work alongside and reap the particular benefits that the project has to offer in terms of work, then it's always welcome from the community. I guess that helps.
Yes, that's perfect. Looks like we got another
Cool.
question coming through here. Let's take a look. Let's see. Thanks. Nope. Okay. Anyone else have any additional questions they want to ask about the mentorship program, or that we can provide guidance for getting engaged with the next 2025 mentorship program? That's really the critical component here. Okay, Pratham, not seeing any additional questions at this time, and maybe you want to just offer a few more thoughts, and then we can go ahead and wrap up the session.
Cool. Um, so if I were to offer additional thoughts, then it would be that uh, like today is the only day when I feel like it's a gloomy day because all this has formally come to an end for me. Like not the mentorship aspect of it, because I am like once a part of the community, always a part of the community. It's like that. So, but like this association, as in I am no longer a mentee. I'm a contributor now. So maybe I see this as a promotion to my stature, that my learning phase has successfully been completed. Obviously, I learn every day, even now, and even John, you also must be learning every single day. You are evolving every single day,
Sure.
and now I feel even more interested, and I think I can, you know, uh, help some folks with the particular questions and the guidance which they need for joining the particular program and the doubts which they might have. So that is something which I'd love to do now. And I'd urge everyone to just hit the apply button so that you can, do, uh, yeah. So, and I'd also urge everyone to just join the Hyperledger Discord. So, so you can just feel free to lurk in and just explore every section, just make new friends and see the projects and see what they have to offer, and talk to the maintainers, join in any weekly call of the project, and ask the maintainers that yes, I am new in this project and I'd love to learn about the project. So that is something which I'd like to say. Like get involved as soon as possible, and then one door will open from there, and subsequently dots will connect. You'll find your way.
Perfect. Okay, Pratham, well, I really appreciate your presentation, and I also want to personally thank you for doing such a great job on the 2024 mentorship. It really was exceptional to work with you, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in the community for sure. And I welcome everyone who's either watching the program on YouTube or who's on the call directly here to go ahead and apply. And, both Pratham and I are in the Discord channel. So if you need to reach out to us directly, feel free to do so there. So I hope
Sure.
everyone has a great day. And let's go ahead and wrap up the video at this time.
Thank you so much, John. Exceptional and an entire pleasure of working with you. The pleasure is entirely mine. And yeah, it was exceptional working with you and, always grateful for the opportunities which I've got for working with you. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now.